What's up, internet? My name's Kevin Parry. I'm a stop motion animator, and today I have a challenge. Can I recreate the Netflix intro, you know, the bum bum, that thing, in low budget arts and crafts stop motion animation? All right, let's play this and see what we can find. So the first thing I'm seeing is that it's completely on a black background, which makes things easier. Nothing's moving. Locked camera. The N is pretty much red the whole time. It forms, it grows a bit approaching camera, and then it dissolves into these colorful threads that then launch at the camera. So even though the background is flat and still, we're still gonna have to work in 3 dimensions. So we'll work in that kind of Z space toward camera. All right, that's about it. I think now that we've analyzed and looked at this closer, we can move on to planning how we're going to make this. All right, how do we take this Netflix intro and recreate it with real objects filmed with real cameras? For the overall setup, I'm thinking tabletop, everything here, and then a camera above filming downward. And then I'll probably cover that table with black cloth. And for the Netflix N and the threads launching at the camera, I mean, it has to be yarn, right? There's no other arts and crafts material that would work that well. Now I need that N to approach the camera slowly. So I'm thinking rather than just having it on the table, I'm going to do some rigging from below with maybe a hole cut in the table, and I'll support that N, and I'll be able to wind it up nice and slowly. Now we need to come up with a clever way to do all of that yarn coming at the camera. And I'm thinking the easiest way would be to have 2 sheets of something like board or plastic with slots cut into them that I can string the yarn between and then just slide them. And that'll be really easy to manipulate every frame. Okay, so I've made my yarn Netflix ends. Looks pretty cool. I still have to cut the fray off, but I found this yarn that transitioned from red to purple, and I kind of got this natural drop shadow, so that looks pretty cool. Also, I made 3 of them. You can see here, and that is so that every other frame in the animation, I can swap one for another, and that'll give it that changing stop motion jitter rather than just one solid N. And then I made a few extra bits, this background piece for when the N first forms, and then this giant one for when it transitions into the threads when it grows toward camera. But yeah, really all I did was cut out the shape on some cardstock, lay down school glue, and then one by one put a string of yarn onto it. Good to go. Let's get into the animation. All right, here is my final setup. I have my downshooter camera looking at my Netflix yarn N, which is rigged from below to rise up. Then I have my 2 boards here in which I can thread yarn between so that I can fly at the lens. Lighting is fairly simple, 2 soft boxes and a ring light behind the lens. And that's just to keep everything soft so that the shadows aren't harsh or too long. And of course I have my live view here, so I can review my animation, and I can bring up the Netflix intro to reference as I go. looks good. The whole process took about 3 days of moving yarn one frame at a time. So a lot more tedious than I expected, especially because it's not dynamic animation or there's no performance, nothing's happening. It's just moving yarn along very slowly. But I love the process and I love bringing these kind of ideas to life. You know, my final animation looks nearly identical to the original intro. So you do have to ask why even do it in the first place. And to that I say, why not? That's the whole point of the challenge. And I do this kind of stuff because I love doing it. So, you know, sometimes you just love doing something for the sake of doing it and you don't have to justify why. So that's a wrap on recreating the Netflix intro in arts and crafts yarn stop motion. I hope you enjoyed seeing me bring this process to life from idea to planning to building to actually doing. If there are any other clips that you want to see me recreate in arts and crafts or stop motion, let me know, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next video.